right, so we were going to talk about if for cutting, like if somebody wants to get cut really fast and is willing to use whatever product, however they can do it, what's the protocol?
Well, first and foremost, I'm going to be honest with you. Everybody thinks, oh, I can just take this and quickly get fit. I can just take a pill and overnight I'm skinny and ripped. It doesn't work that way. First and foremost, you're going to need a really solid diet. I mean, you're going to need macronutrients. You're going to need that dialed in. And I'm not saying you have to go crazy with it. There's other ways, like I showed you. Just eat one time a day. Cut protein shake, 8 ounces of egg whites, scoop protein powder, 2 whole eggs in the middle of the day. That'll carry you to about 6 o'clock. Eat one meal at night. And you'll lose a considerable amount of weight just doing that and drinking a gallon of water a day.
Gotcha. Right. So the main thing is definitely the diet. Like you can't out train a bad diet.
Nope.
Still.
And everyone seems to think that, like, that's a popular saying. Everyone seems to think that, oh, I can just do this. No, it's literally diet, exercise, cardio, then performance enhancing anything.
Right. So basically, people who are concerned about what stuff they can use to help with diet, to help with cutting, until you're ready to commit to a proper diet, it's all a waste of time.
Pretty much.
It's all a waste of time.
I mean, you can do it, sure, but I mean, if you just want to throw money out the window, I like money. Just go ahead and give it to me. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're spending money on a bunch of products but you're not going to eat right, you're just blowing it.
A lot of people don't even know how to use their supplements correctly, so it's kind of wild. We spend a lot of money on supplements here in America, and they're not used correctly. So
that makes sense. So the correct use of supplements then would start after. It starts after you have the diet and the training program in place.
Correct. And
then the supplements can help.
Correct.
So for those people who already have their diets and their supplements, or their diet and their training locked in, what's kind of like the first supplements that are worth looking into, and what do they do? And then, why should, to do it correctly, what should people do?
Depends on what supplements we're talking about, of course. However, we'll stay with everything that I'm legal right now. A lot of products will have, a lot of people are unaware that like C4 and companies like this that you see in Walmart, those are like starter brands. Then you have higher tier brands that are going to, of course, cost more, but not only do they have more effective products in them, they also have higher dosage amounts, 5% being one of those. Of course, you got to go with the best.
Right. That makes sense. If you're getting like cheap whatever you find at Walmart, it's probably not.
Pretty much just stay away from supplements at Walmart. If you go to the back, look on the ingredient label. There is a bunch of things in there that you're not going to be able to pronounce. And if you can't pronounce it, there's a 9 times chance out of 10 that it's not good for you.
That makes sense.
Just stay away from that. Stick to products that you can pronounce. I'm not saying go use whole soy shit. It's garbage. Don't use soy anything. Soy protein, none of that. It's all garbage. It's all got estrogen in it. And we already got enough little Nancy boys running around America anyway. So I do not encourage soy-based products.
No soy. And a lot of the protein bars, if you go to the gas station and you pick up a protein bar, if you read the back of it, 9 times out of 10,
estrogen-based BS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't have nothing to do with it.
So if you just pick up, if you're not thinking about it and you just pick up products off the shelf, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get something that's actually bad for your testosterone.
Yep.
It'll say protein in the package and everything, but it's actually...
They show you what's on the front, but if you read what's on the back and you know a little bit of anything, or if you have common sense whatsoever, you're going to realize how bad these products actually are for you.
Right. So it's very important to know what you're taking and why, and that comes down to these ingredients that are... the entire ingredient list of that protein bar or whatever you might be on.
Yeah. And the further you get away from things that you can't pronounce, or the more and more chemicals that are in that.
That makes sense.
So, and that's why I tell people, instead of using massive amounts of protein powder, just use egg whites. It's not only more effective, it's easier in my case for the body to digest. It's not trying to digest some foreign powder. It's actual food. And then, of course, yes, 5% sells a product that I use inside of the egg whites that makes it taste better. No, you're not going to get salmonella. Quit thinking that. I've been doing this for years. Never once gotten salmonella.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys that lift regularly that do the raw eggs and stuff too, and I've never heard of anybody getting salmonella. It's only the people who never use the
Right.
product, who never have. I've never heard of somebody who drinks raw eggs and stuff, like a bodybuilder that does it, somebody that lifts a lot and does it, talking about how they got salmonella from it. I've only hear about people who never go to that extreme with their fitness of actually consuming the raw eggs and the egg whites. Those are the people that I always hear saying, "Oh, you're going to get salmonella."
It's the same people who drink soy milk.
Right.
Just me lighting this cigar, being a fitness professional, is going to piss a lot of you at home off, but just know I find that actually hilarious. It's actually great entertainment for me, so keep it. I'm good with it.
Yeah, nicotine's good for testosterone. There's a bunch of studies on it, I think. I haven't like dove into it super far, but it also makes you more sharp mentally when you have a cigar. The nicotine.
I just like looking like a mob boss. I'm not gonna lie.
So with you've recovered from a lot of crazy injuries, right? Mm-hmm. That like most people have never been injured to the level that you have, and you've recovered from all this stuff. Mm-hmm. What did you use that you can talk about that helped make that work? And what was the most important part of that? Because you also, like, yeah, I'm curious what products and what stuff actually helps with that, and how you actually recover from serious injuries to the level that you have, because you're huge. Like a lot of injured guys fall off. They're like, oh, I'm injured now, and they fall off and they never come back. Right. But you obviously have not been stopped by anything. So, what is that? How does that work?
The first and foremost thing I used, and not to sound cliche, but was just a drive that, like, I was willing to die to get to my goal, or I was with okay dying. I didn't, like, I'm getting here, or I'm okay if I'm not here anymore. So that was the first thing, just an unwavering, like, I don't give a shit, we're getting to this goal. Second thing, I started doing a lot of research into testosterone, human growth hormone. I found out the higher testosterone levels, the better for you. I could go into a bunch of boring science behind that. I won't, I'll spare you. And then I started researching more about human growth hormone. I found a couple connections and a couple doctors that were willing to help me out. And I went down that route. And I started healing faster than any one of my regular doctors could believe. I told them what I was doing, but their limited knowledge on anything peptide related or human growth hormone related was very limited, because they're surgeons, they're general practitioner doctors. They're not doing anything with hormones, so they have absolutely no clue. So talking to them is like talking to a wall. When I was saying, this is what I was doing, I was asking them questions like, what do you think about it? And they're like, right. Like, dude, you really are just a drug dealer in a lab coat. So that's the last time I asked you anything about my health ever again. And I just did that for about 5-6 years, and I just kept hitting the gym. I got stronger, obviously, as time went on, so my workouts obviously got way more intense. I started going twice a day, and then I did work with a coach for quite some time. That was after I was already, I don't want to say in the best shape of my life, but I was in really good shape for a guy who had been shot a couple times and is dead, and hit by hit on his motorcycle. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, I guess because I've always, from where I come from, I see like there's all these Hollywood guys that are clearly using all this stuff, and they're living super long. Like Arnold's still going. Joe Rogan was on. There's debates about what he was on and whatnot. There's a bunch of guys that are on stuff, and they're clearly doing it healthy. They're clearly not like, they're clearly not affecting their health negatively. They're just inside of a circle that has the knowledge. And that's what a lot of people out there, I think, are missing, who might be interested. But it's scary, because if you get it wrong, there's a lot of the bad stories about the things that go wrong if you use it wrong.
Well, let me put a little into that. You got to use it wrong for a very long time. So people think if you go one wrong cycle, you're going to die in a month. That's not ever going to happen to you. you're only going to hear about the horrible stories in the media and in the news about steroids, because a lot of people don't know steroids were invented for medical purposes. So with that being said, doctors knew something that these could help with.
Right.
Now, of course, there's always going to be alternate uses for every medication and everything that ever comes out. However, with steroids, it was a different story because no one actually knew how to use them. In the beginning, in Arnold's days, they weren't using crazy amounts. You weren't hearing these egregious cycles. You weren't hearing about people doing wild things. Like, actually, we won't even go down that rabbit hole. But it was the people that were doing all this extra shit, and I won't mention names because he's not worth the time, but there was people that were encouraging people to use large amounts of steroids at once. This person's no longer around, and they died of like renal failure or liver and kidney failure, something along those lines. But it was directly related back to gear. So you don't hear about the positive stories like mine, like, dude, I was being told at some points I'm going to have trouble walking if I can walk because of the bullets. And then I was being told that I'm lucky to be alive. So I was willing to do whatever it took. I was just also willing to do the extra step and do the hard work and then educate myself on said topic. And then I got lucky and was able to team up with some amazing individuals who are at doctor level advisors and people who do anabolic research and studies. I was able to meet up with them, and they taught me a massive wealth of information.
Nice. Yeah, so that gives you kind of a background of qualification to actually be able to talk how to do it right, and the fact that you've obviously used
did it
them
to myself,
very well, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people that were in the situation that you were in haven't found their way out. Like there's a lot of people that are injured and stuck in wheelchairs and whatnot who went through things similar to what you went through.
Correct.
But you were like, I'm not going to be that wheelchair
Right.
guy. That was not an acceptable outcome for you. So you found your own way. You
Right.
found the way out. So there's probably I know there's a lot of veterans with a lot of injuries and there's a lot of people who have injuries that are holding them back a lot. So is there something you can give in a short period of time to say like, here's what you can do? Like, I mean, a lot of your story was you were just not going to let it stop you, no
Right.
matter what. So that's a starting point. But then what can people start working on who are stuck with an injured situation that's inhibiting their life? Where can they go from that will take, like, what's the next step to
Not
move
stop
them?
moving.
Just don't stop moving.
Depending on your situation, and of course there's going to be a lot of you out here that will have different situations and can't do one of the things I'm saying, but you can do the other. Some people may not be in a situation where they can walk on a treadmill for extended periods of time, but you can go get in a pool and swim laps. Mm-hmm. Now, swimming is one of the most effective ways that you can not only burn calories, but lose weight like that. And who doesn't love getting in a pool, going swimming? Unless you can't swim. Okay, so if you can't swim, then get your ass on the damn treadmill. The Mexicans are back, so look out for him. I love Jorge. He's a wonderful man. Sometimes he brings me empanadas. Is he fucking coming in here?
Is he?
I don't fucking know. It sounds bad, but I don't know how to keep track of them. There's so many of them. They come in the fucking neighborhood.
Running around running a lawnmower there.
Bro. I wish we could all just, as a neighborhood, like, what day are we all getting our grass cut?
Just pick a day.
Just pick one day. One day. Our grass grows at the same damn rate. Mario, piss off with the weed eater. This fucking guy.
What's some mow his grass?
God.
Yeah, we can go back to cutting. So like if you're so they say that there's a lot of people who are thinking like you either have to cut or bolt. Mm-hmm. But we've talked about how that's not always true.
Correct.
In certain situations. So what's the misconception that people have there about cutting and bulking at the same time? And how should somebody who's in a place where they obviously need to build muscle, but they also have more body mass, more fat on them than they need. So they want to go. Somebody who wants to do both at the same time, or who's in a position to do that, and how do you do that?
So I'm gonna tell you now, a lot of people aren't in position to do that. This isn't me being a jerk. I'm not being an asshole. a lot of people's bodies are not nearly efficient enough to put on muscle while burning fat. That's why they look at bodybuilders like we're some type of, I don't know, genetic freak or something. Now, it does play into part genetics, yes. However, a lot of people have trash diets, their sleeping patterns aren't on point, however. So we can only label that to literally make 5% of the population, maybe probably even less.
So there's like a certain time and place where it's possible. What is that, and how does that work?
So I'm glad you re-asked the question so I can answer it more fully. So, one, you're going to have to do a body recomp. It's going to be about 14 to 16 weeks. It's going to be a lot of protein and a lot of fats, and you're not going to like it. Life is going to suck for a long time. However, when you do this, I went through this with a coach, my body works and functions 100% better. It's more efficient in burning off things. I'm able to pack on muscle. I wouldn't say a little bit faster, but I would say that my body burns off everything so much faster now that I'm able to see results quicker.
Gotcha.
So it's not like some super diet or something. It's just getting your body to run more efficiently. And that's done through eating higher fats. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there's a couple different ways you can do it. There's a couple really good coaches. What I did was I increased my fats. I ate a lot of protein. I ate like 6 to 7 times a day. That's too much for a lot of people, but for me and what I do, that was whatever I needed to do. I was gonna do whatever it took.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So it's kind of like you have to figure out what.
Faded out now.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of.
All right, so if you were saying for somebody who wants, so like the basic, if you're really serious and you want to make the changes now, it starts with 14 weeks of body recomposition.
Yeah.
Is basically where it starts.
Yeah, because when I go to work with one of my clients, I don't ever take them from being not happy with their body, overweight, and body fat percentage and say, okay, bud, let's go pack on some weight now and go pack on some muscle. No.
Right.
Get them lean first. Of course, they're going to put on lean muscle mass in that time period, but the objective is to get all of the weight off first.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So it starts with that recomp program, and there's different ways to do it, but one proven way that you like is the one meal at night and then one protein shake at like lunchtime. That's the egg whites and protein.
For most people, that works. That helps them get lean. I wouldn't consider that a recomposition.
Gotcha.
That does just help people get the fat off and fast.
Okay.
Because it's harder for the body to burn fats and everything else, the proteins that you got to eat. It is something that you got to dedicate yourself to for 16 weeks, so it's not for the normal person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No. Or at least not the normal person that works, a 9 to 5, because it is very difficult to not only maintain that eating, but then the cooking for yourself too.
So what do you recommend for most people that are looking to do to make that first change there?
Go do fasted cardio in the morning, 30 minutes on a treadmill on an incline at 3 miles an hour. And then drink a protein shake at about noon. And then roughly about 6 o'clock, eat a nice sized dinner. And I'm not saying, when I say a nice size, I'm not saying insane portions. No bigger than a 10-ounce steak, 10-ounce piece of chicken, bison, cup and a half of rice or some type of carb, cup and a half of veggies. You're not going to die. It's going to be a good, nice plate for you. It's got a lot of good calories in it. You're not going to get fat. So it's going to your body's going to be burning off the fat that people already have anyway. So with that being said, they don't really need much extra. I'm not being a dick.
Yeah. I mean, you can be.
You're
allowed.
I am. It's weird I have to specify when I am and not being a dick.
Yeah. No, but that's good because it's like what you actually need to do to eat right. Is basically good protein dinner and then the protein shake, and you can pretty much.
I mean, it's not rocket science at the end of the day. People like to make it a lot harder than it is, but it is hard work. So people think that there's a cheat code or an easy way around it, and newsflash, there's not. Sorry about your luck. You still got to work hard like the rest of us.
Yeah, it makes sense. There's no shortcuts.
There's no shortcut to hard work.
Yeah. Which is also why you're so harsh on a lot of your pages and your Instagram, is because there's no other way to get there other than taking it to that extreme.
That's exactly why. And I haven't met one successful person that was like, oh, my coach powdered my ass and was so nice to me. I've been a coach for a really long time. I've been around a lot of personal trainers. Some of them do very well with their clients where they're not so harsh. They have another way of getting to people. But if you look at the mass of people right now, everyone's saying, oh, it's okay for you to be fat. It's okay for this, that. All right, well, I guess it's okay for you to now have any various form of cardiovascular disease because you're fat.
Right.
So people think that that's okay, and no, it's not. And I mean, unfortunately, sometimes it takes a little bit of tough love to get people to understand. And if that wasn't the case, the videos where I'm talking shit wouldn't always do so well.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of personal trainers out there, I think, that will happily take your money and give you what you want to like make you feel good, but they won't. You're not going to get the results feeling good.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. Because at the end of the day, it is a business. We are told to sell you what we look like, because you as a personal trainer, up until the last 5-6 years before all this fat is cool BS, all personal trainers were jacked. And if you weren't, you got ridiculed by the other coaches and trainers because what the hell are you doing in the gym to begin with?
Right.
But that's like the same premise of ugly, fat Hooters girls, I guess, right? Inclusion.
Yeah.
You ruin everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an exclusive group of people with a great physique. So if you want to be a part of it, you have to be willing to go to the extreme harshness that it takes to get there.
Because if I walked into a gym and I didn't look like me and I didn't know what I know about fitness and I saw nothing but fat trainers, as a regular person, I would probably think, this isn't where I want to be. This isn't where I should be. This isn't who I need to be talking to.
Yeah. That's what happened when I joined the military. It was the same. I went to all the recruiting offices. The Army recruiter was fat. Air Force recruiter was fat. The Navy recruiter was fat. The Marine Corps recruiter was like in perfect shape, jacked, had his uniform everything was completely perfect. And I was like, okay, well then that's the branch I want to go with. Because obviously
they're about it.
They're about it, so.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
Perception is everything.
Yeah. You also can't have that perception without putting the work in. And just to keep going on the conversation that we were having before, you don't want clients who aren't going to put in the work either, because for your brand and it's good for you and it's good for them. Yeah. If the client is prepared to come and work hard, it makes them look good. Obviously, they get the result that they wanted because they're gonna do the work. You're gonna show them exactly what they need to do to get that result, and as long as they're willing to put in the work, they'll get it. But you're not interested in having clients who aren't making transformations in their lives. So that's part of the reason you're harsh online too, is because if people who are going to get upset are never going to put in the work anyways.
I've found very quickly that the people who get upset by little things as words, or the way someone puts things, or they feel your tonality was too harsh, that these people who get offended easily aren't ever going to get to their goals. It's just not possible. And this is how I know that. The road to get to your goals is not only heartbreaking, it's going to cause a lot of pain, it's going to cause a lot of struggle, and it's going to cause a lot of issues. And if this person is mad about the way I have to say what I need to say, you're not a good client for me, and you probably can't afford it to begin with. So why do I want you in my DMs talking about, I don't like the way you talk? I don't like the way your life sucks and you're trying to make exceptions for yourself and make everybody appease you.
Right.
So I think that needs to be reversed, and in the biggest way. And honestly, I've also found that from being in a very bad place myself, that going to the gym and pushing myself and actually making that hard on myself and accomplishing small goals inside the gym that led to much bigger goals, that led to much bigger opportunities in my life, has not only helped me in my life because people take you more seriously when you're in shape, Like, I can walk into a room in just a tailored suit and look better than the guy that has a suit that's made from Armani and is overweight. People are going to look at me before they ever look at him.
Right.
Guaranteed, hands down. So you get a certain level of not only respect, people know you can't buy that, so you did something hard that's earned. It not only makes business easier, but people are going to trust you more. And people think, oh, it's not like that. Okay, keep telling yourself.